history is packed with some truly wild stories, but I'll bet you've never heard one quite like this. Have you ever heard of someone being put on trial after death? Well, this is the story of a time when that actually happened. So let's set the scene. We're in Rome, it's January of 897, and inside this absolutely massive, beautiful basilica, something really weird is happening. A corpse, a rotten corpse, is pulled from its tomb. They dress it up in these incredible papal robes, prop it up on a throne, and get ready to put it on trial. Yeah, you heard that right. This is the body of a former pope, Pope Formosus, and his trial is just getting started. And get this, the person behind this whole horrifying spectacle, it was the current pope, Stephen VI. He's the one who ordered the trial of the guy who came before him, Formosus, who, by the way, had been dead and buried for 9 months. This whole event, this crazy trial, would go down in history as the Cadaver Synod. So you have Pope Stephen basically acting as the prosecutor, screaming questions and accusations right at this corpse. And just to make it even more bizarre, there's this poor, terrified young deacon hiding behind the throne, and his job is to answer for the dead pope. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It was pure, terrifying political theater. So this all leads to the big question, right? Why? What on earth could possess a pope to dig up another pope's body and put it on trial? Well, to get to the bottom of that, we have to take a look at the world they were living in, and believe me, 9th century Italy was absolute chaos. Okay, so the late 9th century, Italy is just a mess. The massive Carolingian Empire, which had held things together, is falling apart. This leaves this huge power vacuum, and all these ruthless, vicious factions are literally fighting, for control. And the biggest prize of all? The papacy. And if you want a perfect picture of this chaos, just look at the top job. Between 872 and 965, get ready for this, the church had 24 different popes. 24! This wasn't just some holy position, it was the ultimate political trophy, and people were willing to do anything to get it. And this timeline right here really drives the point home. Look at this. Between 896 and 904, you're getting a new pope practically every year. And we're not talking about quiet retirements here. Oh no, popes were being thrown out, locked up, even flat out murdered. It was a brutal battle for power between these big, influential families. Okay, so with all that violence and chaos as the backdrop, let's dig into the specifics. What was Stephen VI's beef with Formosus? Why this deep, personal, posthumous grudge? All right, so on paper, the charges were all about breaking church rules, things like perjury, and this big one about being a bishop in 2 places at once, which was a big no-no. But honestly, that was all just a cover story. The real reason was 100% political. See, Formosus had first backed this powerful Italian family, the Spoletans, even crowning one of them Holy Roman Emperor. But then, he completely switched sides. He invited their biggest rivals, the Carolingians, to come invade. So this whole trial, it was basically the Spoletan family getting their brutal, brutal revenge. But wait, there's another layer to this, a really personal one. Guess who made Stephen VI a bishop in the first place? Yep, Formosus. So by declaring everything Formosus ever did as pope null and void, Stephen could basically hit the rewind button on his own career, wiping his slate clean of that same rule he was accusing Formosus of breaking. It was a seriously clever, if completely ruthless power play, to make sure his own claims to the papacy was secure. So back in that basilica, the verdict was pretty much decided before the trial even began. But what happened next? The punishment and the public reaction? Nobody saw that coming. Okay, so no surprise, the corpse was found guilty, and the punishment was just methodical and savage. First, they ripped the papal robes right off the body. Then, they took an axe or a knife and hacked off the 3 fingers he used for blessings. They declared every single thing he did as pope was now invalid. And for the grand finale, they dragged his mutilated body through the streets of Rome and chucked it into the Tiber River. You'd think that would be the end of it, but this whole grisly spectacle totally backfired on Stephen. The people of Rome were absolutely horrified and disgusted. And then, when the body of Formosus washed up on the riverbank, whispers started spreading. Rumors that his mangled corpse was performing miracles. Well, that was the spark. public anger just exploded. There was an uprising, and Pope Stephen himself was overthrown. What they were trying to do here was basically an extreme version of an old Roman practice. It's called damnatio memoria, which literally means damnation of memory. The idea wasn't just to punish the guy, it was to completely erase him from history, to pretend he never even existed. And talk about irony. The guy who tried to erase someone from history, he got a pretty swift and brutal end himself. Just a few months after the trial, Stephen VI was tossed in prison and strangled to death. So after all that bloodshed and horror, what was the actual legacy of one of the strangest trials in all of human history? Well, the chaos definitely didn't stop there. It was like papal whiplash. The very next pope came in and immediately reversed the verdict, giving Formosus a proper reburial with all the honors. Then a pope after him officially banned any future trials of dead people, which, seems like a good rule to have. But the hatred was so intense that another pope, one of Formosus's old enemies, actually brought the conviction back years later. It just shows you how completely insane and unstable things were. It's no wonder historians look at this whole affair as one of the low points for the papacy. It's just a terrifying example of what happens when politics, power grabs, and fanaticism get mixed together and just spiral completely out of control. This whole event is such a chilling reminder of a pattern you see again and again in history. How easily justice can get twisted and corrupted by power. When people wrap up their personal ambitions and political fights in the language of righteousness and law, well, the results are often both incredibly bizarre and deeply tragic. It's a story that echoes through the centuries in different ways. The Cadaver Synod really stands out as this uniquely grotesque, almost unbelievable moment. But the things that drove it, raw ambition, bitter revenge, using fear to control people, those things are all too human, all too familiar. And it really makes you wonder, what is it about these bizarre moments in history that we just can't forget? Is it just how weird they are, or is it because they're a chilling reminder of what can happen when power is left completely, utterly unchecked?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe.